Hello friends, my name is Ryan. I'm going to tell you a story named The Boston Marathon Bombing Terror at a Celebrated Event, which is a very amazing story full of twists. So, let's start. It was a bright April morning in Boston. The streets were alive with energy, bustling with thousands of runners, spectators, and vendors. The Boston Marathon, one of the most prestigious and historic events in the country, was underway. Families lined the sidewalks, waving banners and cheering for loved ones. The air carried the faint aroma of street food and the sound of laughter mixed with footsteps pounding the pavement. It was a day of celebration, unity, and triumph, or so everyone thought. Among the crowd, unnoticed by most, were two young men, Tamerlan and Zokhar. They blended seamlessly into the throng of spectators, carrying backpacks that seemed unremarkable to the untrained eye. Their faces betrayed nothing but calm composure, yet inside, a storm brewed. They had a plan, one that would transform this joyous occasion into a scene of chaos and terror. As the runners reached the halfway mark, a young boy named Ben stood eagerly with his parents near the finish line. He waved a small American flag, his excitement palpable. His father, a former marathon runner, had been telling him stories of the event for years. This was Ben's first time witnessing it in person, and he couldn't have been happier. Around them, the crowd cheered as the first batch of runners approached, their faces a mix of determination and exhaustion. Just a few feet away, Tamerlan carefully placed his backpack on the ground near a trash can. He stepped back, adjusting his cap and glancing around to ensure no one had noticed. Zokhar mirrored his movements a block away, setting his bag down near another cluster of spectators. Both backpacks contained homemade bombs, crafted with deadly precision. The seconds ticked by, each one heavier than the last. Tamerlan and Zokhar walked away from their respective spots, their faces emotionless. The atmosphere remained festive, oblivious to the impending doom. Then, it happened. The first explosion rocked the street, sending a deafening roar through the air. The ground shook, and a cloud of smoke engulfed the area. Screams erupted as people scrambled in panic, trying to make sense of the chaos. Just 12 seconds later, the second bomb went off, amplifying the horror. What had been a scene of celebration transformed into one of devastation and fear. Ben's father instinctively shielded his son, pulling him close as debris flew in every direction. The once vivid banners and signs were now tattered and burned. Blood stained the pavement, and the cries of the injured filled the air. Emergency responders, who had been stationed nearby for marathon-related injuries, rushed into action, their training kicking in despite the overwhelming scene. In the hours that followed, the city was plunged into a state of shock. News of the bombing spread like wildfire, dominating headlines and social media. The death toll and the number of injured grew as details emerged. Hospitals were overwhelmed, and the streets of Boston were eerily quiet, save for the sound of sirens and the murmurs of stunned residents. Law enforcement agencies sprang into action, launching one of the most extensive manhunts in recent history. Surveillance footage soon revealed the faces of the two suspects, Tamerlan and Zokhar, as they moved through the crowd before the explosions. The FBI released their images to the public, urging anyone with information to come forward. The city's collective grief was now accompanied by a burning desire for justice. Meanwhile, Zokhar and Tamerlan were on the run. They knew their time was limited, but they were determined to evade capture. They carjacked a vehicle and engaged in a high-speed chase with police, exchanging gunfire in the process. Tamerlan was fatally wounded during the confrontation, but Zokhar managed to escape, slipping into the shadows of the night. The city of Boston was placed on lockdown as the search for Zokhar intensified. Streets were deserted, businesses closed, and residents were urged to stay indoors. Law enforcement combed through neighborhoods, going door to door in their pursuit. The tension was palpable, the air heavy with fear and anticipation. After hours of searching, a breakthrough came when a resident in Watertown noticed bloodstains leading to a boat stored in his backyard. He peered inside and saw Zokhar, injured and hiding. The authorities were alerted, and a tense standoff ensued. Negotiators attempted to coax him out, while tactical teams prepared for a potential confrontation. Finally, After what felt like an eternity, Dzokhar surrendered. He was taken into custody, his capture bringing a mix of relief and sorrow to the people of Boston. The city had endured a nightmare, but its spirit remained unbroken. The community rallied together, supporting the victims and their families, and vowing never to let such an act of terror define them. The trial of Dzokhar Zarnaev was one of the most closely watched in modern history. He was convicted on multiple charges and sentenced to death. Yet, for many, the scars left by the bombing could never be erased. The memories of that fateful day, the sights, the sounds, the loss, remained etched in their minds. As I finish this story, I want you to take a moment to reflect on the resilience of humanity. Even in the face of unimaginable tragedy, we have the strength to come together, to heal, and to rebuild. Life is unpredictable, full of twists and turns, but it is our collective spirit that carries us forward. If you found this story captivating, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tales like this. Your support helps us continue sharing these incredible stories with you. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay safe and take care.